Yeah, thank you, Andreas, for your warm welcome. Welcome, Dr. Butt, for you are a 26th graduate of WBS. Welcome back here at Brandt School. Madam Vice President, good to see you again. We already met in the Academic Senate this afternoon. Wonderful to have you here tonight. Thank you to Lena Kiesewetter and the entire Brandt School staff for organizing tonight's welcome lecture. And particularly, thank you to all of you. Thank you for choosing Erfurt University for your master's studies. Being students at Brandt School, all of you are part of our faculty, the Faculty of Economics, Law, and Social Sciences. Being this faculty's dean, it's my honor and my pleasure to welcome all first-year Master of Public Policy students. We are indeed thrilled to have you with us. Without any doubt, it will be a challenging time for you. Andreas also already mentioned this before. Much work here at WBS. I wish you all the best for your time here in Erfurt, hoping that despite all work, your years of studies here will be a time to remember. To be honest, it's a very pleasant feeling for the dean to know that here at Brandt School, you, our MPP students, are in the best hands with Andreas Goldhau, with Heike Grimm, with Achim Kämmerling, Mariana Lanus, and all the others, with all the wonderful colleagues I have the privilege to serve with in our faculty. You have come to Erfurt from many countries and from all over the world. And to tell you, whenever I'm here, and even if it's just being in this building, it seems to me that I find the world united at Brandt School. Unfortunately, it is true, and in these days, the real world is anything but in good shape. It is not united at all. There is a war in Europe just 2 hours flight away from here. And the images from the Middle East are almost unbearable, especially what is done to children and families. I'm sure you will all agree with me. It is inconceivable what people can do to each other. One could lose courage and confidence. But my friends, despite all our inability to change things in the world, we can make a difference when it comes to our dealings with each other. Every single one can be cooperative, respectful, and friendly with all others on every single day. So please, do so, be all you can be, and keep in mind, your time here in Erfurt is a time to make friends. Unite the world and try to maintain all friendly relations you start here for the rest of your lifetime. Every single international friendship makes the world a better place. Let me finally tell you that your stay here in Erfurt exactly 35 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall. As you probably know, Germany had been divided for more than 40 years, and the wall that ran through the middle of Berlin was the symbol of that division. But in the late summer of 1989, things began to change. Many courageous men and women here in Eastern Germany, in this part of Germany, where a dictatorship ruled, people in cities like Leipzig, Plauen, or here in Erfurt, and many other cities, protested without any violence against exit restrictions, against oppression and surveillance, for all the civil liberties that were denied to them, and finally, for the unity of our country. And then came the 9th of November. It was a Thursday. And every German who is old enough can probably remember this day and has his or her very own story. And here's mine. To be honest, when history was made, I almost missed it. For me, a law student at Passau University, in the very southeast of Germany, 3rd year, the evening was nothing special. I met up with some friends and we watched a football match on TV together in the dormitory of one of them. It was a cup match and it took very long because it went into extra time. Later, when I was back in my apartment, it was probably around 11 p.m., I got a call from my mother. You must know that my sister was expecting her first baby at that time. So I asked my mother, who otherwise never called so late, "You want to tell me you have become a grandmother?" But she denied this. Instead, she asked me, "What are you doing tonight?" And I answered, "Well, Mom, you know, I watched that football match," and suspecting her frown, I added, "Of course, I know I should have better worked for my stat exam." But then she said sternly, "No, you better have turned on the other TV channel. Do so immediately and see what's happening in Berlin." So I did what she told me, and I witnessed an unforgettable night. The people of Berlin had taken history in their own hands and were making their city whole. They were more or less dancing on the wall. A goosebump moment that comes back again and again whenever I see all the images of that night, even after 35 years. The special thing is, what happened on 9th of November 1989 would have been completely unthinkable a few months earlier. Just to mention my mother again, she was 59 years at that time, and she didn't expect to witness that in her lifetime. I think it shows us that we must never give up hope, that things can change if only enough people really do want it. But I don't want to bother you any longer with my personal stuff, but instead pass the word on to today's keynote speaker. It is my pleasure and my honor to introduce Dr. Atif Ikram Butt. Again, welcome, Dr. Butt, and thank you for giving the Welcome Lecture 2024 to us tonight. Please allow me to introduce tonight's keynote speaker to you. Dr. Atif Ikram Butt has over 20 years of leadership experience in social and behavior change communication. Since 2019, he's Chief Public Advocacy and Communication at the Communication Division of the United Nations Environment Program based in Nairobi, Kenya. From 2015 to 19, he was Executive Director of the Center for Communication Programs, Pakistan, at Johns Hopkins University's CCP Global Network. Previously, he had worked with UNICEF, UNDP, ILO, WHO, and others. For example, inter alia in countries like Jordan, Egypt, Afghanistan, Bosnia, and Pakistan. He pioneered ICT-driven initiatives for children's rights, engagement of faith communities in development projects, application of human rights approach to journalism, and introduced entertainment education to graduate curricula. Dr. Butt holds a PhD in International Development Studies from Ruhr University Bochum, the very west of Germany, focusing on influence of ideation on policy making, of course. And last not least, he gained an MPP from this institution, from Brandt School, and what is more, an MBA from Hamdard University in Pakistan, and undergrad degrees in health management, information systems, mathematics, and studies. Finally, I want to mention he received funding for his studies inter alia from Bell Foundation and the DAAD. So you see, we have a wonderful opportunity tonight to have the keynote speaker who is really a man with an outstanding career, very successful and much respected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this introduction, Dr. Witt. Professor Dr. Beate Hampe, Professor Dr. Andreas Golthaw, Professor Dr. Heike Grimm, colleagues, staff, students, and amongst students, of course, the class of 2024. It's an absolute honor. It's a great pleasure to be standing here and welcoming the class of 2024 to Willy Brandt School of Public Policy. I hardly believe that it has been 20 years since my own journey started with the school. I was part of the second batch, the second intake in 2004. And the school was barely 1 year old. And at that time, it was called Alfred School of Public Policy. Later, the name was changed to Willy Brandt School of Public Policy. And as you can imagine, things were only just starting for the school. The other day, Dr. Graham and I, we were reminiscing about those early years, and we could not help but laugh as to how this school was given a very small corner in the extreme end of the university. Hasnan remembers, of course. It wasn't just a corner, it was not only small, it was in the basement. And the basement had windows with the steel bars. And guess what? The view was of car parking. And our classroom was even at the end of that end. And we were so very close to Clinicum that whenever these ambulances were passing by with their sirens, it seemed they were crossing right through our classroom where we were given these lectures. So it was a very humble beginning. But we were excited because there was this feeling in the air that we are part of something new, something innovative, something grand. And at that time, I remember that we, the students, and I'm sure the case might be today as well, we were trying to find our footing in the field of public policy. We were trying to make sense of what public policy is all about, right? And we were trying to establish our careers. But what is not the case today, and very much was the case at that time, that it wasn't just students who were trying to find their footing, it was the school also. The school was in fact fighting for its survival. And I'm not saying just for the matter of saying it, it was really fighting for its survival. It was an idea. It was an experiment. It was a project. And I'm so very pleased that we students of that time, together with teachers, of course, Dr. Grimm leading, we fought that case together. And we made sure that we contribute to making sure that the school not just survived, it thrived. And you, the students, and the class of 2024 should take pride in this because now you are part of this legacy. When we first arrived, as the case every year is, we had come from all over the world. Hasnan, correct me if I'm wrong, I guess we were 22 or 24 students from 16 countries. And we had come from all over the world, as Professor Dr. Andreas mentioned for this year. There were students from Brazil, from Colombia, from Nepal, from Vietnam, from Malaysia, and of course, us from Pakistan. Even the popular rumor was at that time that Hasnan and I, we were the first Pakistani students to ever place foot in the city. So I don't know whether it's true or not, but it is a fairy tale that we tell to our children. And when we came to city of Erfurt, of course, the city was stranger to us. But we were also stranger to the city. So there was this mutual curiosity of learning from each other. And believe you me, that this mutual curiosity shaped a large part of our learning. We not just learned from lectures and lessons that we got from the school, but we also learned from the experiences that we had in the city, right? And this will be very much the case with you too, the students of 2024. You will not just learn from your lessons and lectures, you learn from your friendships, you learn from your peers, you learn from the networks that you establish here, from the context that you make, from the experiences you'll have, that will all shape your learning experience for the next 2 years. So in many ways, I'll not be wrong to say that your classroom will not be the four walls in this building. It will be the city of Erfurt. The city of Erfurt will be your classroom. And of course, there is school as well, right? School will also impart teaching. And the school has been, from the very beginning, it has dared to be different. It has tried innovative, creative methods of teaching. It has given preference to coaching over more traditional ways of imparting education. And this summer I had opportunity to spend some time with Dr. Graham and other interactions that I've had with other members of the staff. I can tell you, I assure you, that the same vigor, the same energy and interest to push the boundaries still very much exist. And this is the reason behind the success of the school. This is why 20 years back from today, this nascent idea of a public policy school in Germany, at that time there were only 2 schools that were offering public policy courses. It has grown into this established, recognized institution of academic. And if you ask me, and I'm not making this as a matter of speech, I do really believe that the biggest luxury that you can enjoy in your lifetime is the opportunity to have learning in an academic setting. What could be more luxurious than you are given knowledge, skills, and tools through which you can effect change? No other luxury can give you that power. This is what you are going to experience firsthand here in this school. Also, during your time here in the school, you will be given various opportunities. In my case, the school helped me develop 3 skills, which you will also have the opportunity to develop. And those skills are having sense of clarity, having sense of direction, and having sense of focus. And they go hand in hand. And I'll explain to you how. Clarity is about knowing what drives you, what you are passionate about. What is it that you want to do? Where do you see yourself in next 5 years or 10 years? That is about clarity. You know what your goalpost is. What is it that you want to do immediately, in medium term, in long term? When I was making this decision to pursue master's degree here at the Brandt School of Public Policy, I was working with International Labour Organization, a United Nations specialized agency. I had a career job, but I had a sportive role. I could have stayed there. I could have retired in that role. But I would have retired as a generalist. I knew that if I wanted to excel my career, I have to carve my own niche. I have to have core competency. These are the decisions that you would have to take for setting those goals, for setting those ambitions. And once you have that clarity, once you know what is it that you want to achieve, then you need a sense of direction. Direction is about setting your path, setting milestones that you want to achieve one after the other, to make sure that you're reaching those goalposts that you've set yourself. Where do you want to do your internship? What do you want to do right after master's studies? Do you want to go back to the same profession from perhaps where you have come from? Or you want to go in a completely different line of work? Whether you want to try your luck here in Germany or in Europe, or you want to go back to your home country. These are all the questions that you have to ask yourself that will help you set your direction. When I completed my master's degree, I was absolutely sure of two things. One, I must not have a gap between my education and restart of my career. Second, to survive, to re-enter into professional life, I must rejuvenate, reconnect with my network. So the job I was offered after Master of Public Policy, it gave me half the salary of what I was getting before starting Master of Public Policy. But I accepted that job because I knew that this would make sure on my resume that there is no gap. Second, this job will help me rebuild my network, reestablish my contacts. And that happened. Soon after, within a year, I got a very good job in UNDP. This is about setting your direction. Your peers, the staff here, your teachers will help you get clarity based on your past experiences, based on your ambitions, and they will help you carve out your direction. So once you have a sense of clarity and direction, you need focus. Focus is about staying true to the path that you have carved yourself, making sure that you are not being deviated to another course. And believe you me, there will be divergences, there will be distractions, there will be opportunities thrown at you that may seem more attractive to you at that time, maybe some shortcuts. But my humble submission to you, and I say that from the deep of my heart, do not settle for a lesser life for the sake of stability. Leadership is anything than stability. Leadership is about touching new grounds. Leadership is about movement. Leadership is about vibrancy. And you are leaders, and leaders in making for the global world out there. So, to succeed, you need clarity, you need direction, you need focus. Imagine you have clarity and direction, but you lack focus. You will not be able to reach your goalposts. Imagine you have clarity and focus, but you don't know the direction. Still, you'll be lost. These three strengths go hand in hand. And this school will give you the opportunity to develop, sharpen, strengthen these skills. Now, let's talk about what you'll take away from your experience at the Brandt School of Public Policy. Beyond the academic knowledge, the formal lectures, the most valuable lessons that you will learn would be how you can critically examine concepts, words that we so often take for granted, that we have come across throughout our academic or professional life, but we ignore them. And I'll give you an example. For a moment, just visualize the word classroom. What comes to your mind when you try visualizing the word classroom? The picture that comes to your mind maybe is of four walls, students sitting in rows, facing whiteboard or blackboard, teacher standing here, giving lecture. Is that what comes to your mind? But is this the only way through which education can be imparted? Or could there be more effective, more efficient ways of teaching, imparting lessons, learning? Could we learn from each other? Could we learn from our environment? There are other meanings that we can draw, that we can develop of classroom. I'll give you another example. Let's visualize the word family. If you have come from Global South, and many of you are from Global South, when you visualize the word family, maybe a larger family structure comes to your mind. Husband, wife, with their children, together with their parents. But if you're from North, maybe a more nuclear family structure comes to your mind. But isn't family about bond than structure? The same concept, the same thing applies on the word development. Both in its meaning as a process and as an outcome. This country is going through development. This country has achieved development. Now try visualizing development. What comes to your mind? Maybe tall skyscrapers, elaborate infrastructure, business districts, people in business suits going to office in the morning. Is that the image that comes to your mind? But is that really what development is? And whose development are we talking about? Are those communities, those indigenous communities who live deep inside the Amazon forest, shielded from the outside world, do you consider them less developed? They have their own culture. They have their own systems. They have their own ways of thriving. But what differs is our notion, our understanding of what development ought to be. And this is my main contention. Historically, development started as a post-colonial project, a project conceived by Western countries applied to these newly independent states. It was a blueprint, a framework given to these countries to conduct themselves to become developed, to more look like Western countries. It was all about economic growth, measured through GDP, through industrialization, through urbanization. It was a global system rooted in colonial ideologies and Western ideals. But you have all read, seen, come across that the meaning of development has been evolving, and rightly so. Development is not just about economic growth or material possessions anymore. It is about human dignity. It is about inclusiveness. It is about sustainability. It is about the right to live. It is about right to have access to your fundamentals, right to education, right to health. And more importantly, it is about the right to choose your own destiny, to have systems that appeals to your values, to your aspirations. Now, when we talk about development, we talk about sustainable development, a more holistic viewpoint of development that not only talks about systems that can bring profit, but it also looks into system structures that can help bring well-being to people, can protect the planet. Now, some, when they speak of sustainable development, they talk about living in harmony with nature. And if you ask me, the pursuit of living is far more cherishable mission than whatever notion of development you might have. Just imagine if you are able to say that I'm living my life. I've been able to live my life. So class of 2024, this is where your journey starts. To deconstruct these ideas. And I tell you that meaning behind these ideas is in their construction. And you will have the tools, the abilities, the knowledge that this school will give you to deconstruct those ideas, to dig deeper into the meaning behind those words, those phrases, those concepts, those terms that you have inherited. Question them. Question them again and again. The answers that you will get may not be straightforward. They may not be black and white. They may come in various shades of gray, but that is absolutely okay. What matters is, class of 2024, that you keep on asking the right questions. I have full confidence that you, the class of 2024, will continue this tradition of meaningful exchange, bold ideas, and critical thinking. I once again welcome you to the Brandt School of Public Policy. Your journey starts now. Thank you very much.